Don't tell them your plans. Show them your results. You see, that's how you make them wonder. Not by announcing it, but by becoming it. There's something powerful about quiet moves, silent progress, about showing up one day and being unrecognizable because of how far you've come. That's what this is about. Making them stop, pause, and ask, how in the world did you do it? Success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. So if you really want them to wonder, if you want to become so effective, so disciplined, so strong in your character, that people stop and whisper, how did he do it? Then you must first accept the truth. You don't need to tell people what you're going to do. You just need to do it. And do it so well, they can't ignore you. Success is predictable. It's not luck and it's not magic, it's hard work and discipline. Now let me tell you, there's a certain beauty and mystery in walking into a room and letting your growth speak so loud that people have to pause and whisper to themselves, what happened to him? You don't need to explain. You don't need to announce. You just need to evolve. Because when your results show up, they speak for you. And if you've done it right, they'll wonder how you did it. That's the magic. That's the mystery of success. I was 25 years old, broke and confused. A few pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, behind on promises and full of excuses. I used to blame the government. I blamed the weather. I blamed my circumstances. I blamed everything but myself. Until one day I met a man who saw right through me. He said, Jim, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. And let me tell you, that hit me like a thunderbolt to the soul. You see, I was waiting for something to happen. But what I needed was to become the kind of person that things happen for. Stop explaining. Start evolving. Here's what I learned: the people who impress others the most aren't the loudest. They're the most consistent. They didn't scream their plans. They didn't post every step. They just worked in the dark until their light couldn't be ignored. That's how you make them wonder. You show up one day different, better, stronger, and they say, what happened to you? And you say, nothing. You just smile. Because they weren't there when you were doing the work. They didn't see the late nights, the early mornings, the books, the discipline, the sacrifices. You don't get the crowd without the quiet. I always say, learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. A why? Because who you become is more valuable than what you achieve. You want the promotion? Grow. You want the business? Grow. You want the respect? Grow. Don't chase applause. Chase growth, and the applause will follow. Let me tell you something powerful. When you live right, when you build with intention, when you rise from discipline, you become the question. People look at you and say, how does he stay so focused? How does he stay so calm? How does he keep going? You become the inspiration because you first became the example. And that's real influence. You want to know the secret. Be so good they can't help but notice. Not because you said a word, not because you asked for attention, but because your actions became undeniable. That's what we're aiming for. Not popularity, not pity, not permission, just progress, daily, quiet, relentless. Until one day you walk into that room, not looking for validation, but carrying transformation. And they say, he's not the same. And they're right. You're not. Now listen, you don't owe anyone your story. You owe yourself your future. Let the world see the result, not the struggle. Because those who matter, they'll know what it took. And those who don't, they'll wonder. They'll guess. They'll speculate. But they'll never fully understand. And that's the point. Because your discipline was yours. Your growth was earned. And your success, that was built, not given. So here's what I want you to do today. Begin quietly. No grand announcement. Just intention. Get clear, get disciplined. And every day build your habits. Build your mind. Build your value. Until one day they look at you and say, you changed. And all you do is smile, because you did. And now they wonder how you did it. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines, practiced every day. Let me tell you something I learned a long time ago. Your future is hidden in your daily routine, not in the dreams, not in the big goals you wrote on a piece of paper, not in the talks, but in the walk, in what you do when no one's watching. See, everyone wants success to be this big event. One day, you just arrive. But I've found it's not an event. It's a quiet, slow building process. And the foundation of it all is self-discipline. Self-discipline is the master key. Without it, everything else falls apart. With it, the doors start to open. Quietly, consistently, like clockwork. Let me tell you about my old mornings. I used to get up whenever I felt like it. Sleep in, snooze the alarm, start the day already behind. And by noon, I'd wonder where the time went. Sound familiar? One day I sat down and asked myself, what if I owned the first hour of my day? What if I stopped starting slow and started strong? That's when it changed. I began to wake up on purpose, not by accident. I began to read a few pages every morning, write in a journal, reflect, plank, not hours, just minutes. But those minutes, repeated daily, began to reshape my future. And that's the lesson: small disciplines, big rewards. You see, the habits you build today will either build your future or break it. Now, I get it. Discipline isn't glamorous. Waking up early, saying no to distractions, planning your day when you'd rather relax. It doesn't look exciting. No one's applauding you for it. But here's the truth: success is built in boredom, grit, repetition. Not in hype, not in drama. I remember someone asking me, Jim, how do I become successful? And I told them, start by making your bed. They laughed. But I wasn't joking. If you can't win the little battles, you'll never win the big ones. And if you don't learn to lead yourself, you'll never be able to lead anything else. Discipline is the difference between what you want now and what you want most. And let me tell you, most people trade the long-term reward for the short-term pleasure. They say, I'll start tomorrow. But you know, and I know, tomorrow is where dreams go to die. It's easy to drift into mediocrity. You don't have to do anything. Just relax. Don't think. Don't plan. And life will sweep you into average. But if you want to stand out, if you want them to wonder how you did it, then you've got to do what most won't. You've got to choose discipline over comfort. You've got to say no when your old self wants to say yes. You've got to stay in when the crowd is going out. You've got to rise early when your body wants to sleep. That's not punishment. That's training. Discipline is not about restriction. It's about preparation. It's saying to the world, I'm not waiting for life to happen. I'm building my life one decision at a time. I used to think motivation was enough. It's not. Motivation gets you going. Discipline keeps you growing. Motivation is the spark. But discipline, that's the engine. And you know what's beautiful? After a while, discipline turns into identity. You don't have to force it anymore. You just are that person now. You get up because that's who you are. You show up because that's what you do. You follow through because it's in you now. And that's when people start to notice. They start to ask, how are you always on point? How do you keep showing up? How do you stay focused? And you just smile because you know it wasn't one big leap. It was thousands of small steps, each day, each decision, each discipline, stacked on top of each other until they built a foundation that couldn't be shaken. So if you want to make them wonder how you did it, don't just dream big. Live small. Do the little things. Master the daily habits. Be faithful in the quiet. And one day, they'll look at your life, your results, your peace, your power, and they'll wonder, how did you do it? And you'll know. You'll know it was the discipline, the decisions, that the days when you didn't feel like it, but did it anyway. Success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Now, let me tell you something important. Most people today, they're chasing clout. They want attention. They want recognition. They want to look successful before they ever become successful. But let me ask you something. Would you rather be noticed or remembered? Would you rather be famous for a season or valuable for a lifetime? Because let me tell you, real success, the kind that lasts, it's not about how many people follow you. It's about how many people trust you. It's about how many people can say, I am better because I met you. And trust. Trust is built on character. Character is what people remember long after you're gone. Character is the foundation of everything. And you know what? You can't buy it. You can't fake it. You can't post it for likes. You either have it or you don't. I remember when I was just starting out. I wanted success. I wanted wealth. I wanted recognition. But I'll tell you what my mentor, Earl Schoaf, told me, Jim, if you want more, you have to become more. At first, I didn't understand. I thought success was about what I got, but he showed me. Success is about what you give. It's about who you become. It's about your character. See, your reputation is what people say about you. But your character, that's who you really are when no one's looking. It's how you treat the waiter at a restaurant. It's how you handle adversity. It's how you show up when no one's watching. And here's the thing. You don't build character overnight. You build it decision by decision, habit by habit, one small choice at a time. Do you keep your word when it's inconvenient? Do you show up when you said you would? Do you take shortcuts or do you do things the right way? Because let me tell you something. Success is not about what you do. It's about who you become in the process. Now, most people today, they want the easy way. They want results without the effort. They want rewards without the discipline. They want the clout, but they don't want the work. But here's what they don't understand. Clout fades. Fame fades. But value lasts. The world will always reward value. Not noise, not hype, not popularity. Value. The kind of value that makes people say, I need what they have. I trust what they say. I respect how they live. And here's the best part. You don't have to tell people you're valuable. You don't have to prove it. You just become it. And they'll see it for themselves. It's in how you carry yourself. It's in how you handle problems. It's in how you make decisions. It's in how you treat people who can do nothing for you. That's what makes the difference. That's what makes people wonder. How did they do it? And the answer. You focused on being great, not just looking great. You focused on being valuable, not just being visible. You took the long road when others took shortcuts. You stayed honest when others lied. You stayed consistent when others quit. And in the end, the world doesn't remember the loudest. The world remembers the realest. So today, make a decision. Decide to build character over clout. Because when the dust settles, and the hype is gone, and the trends fade away, only the real ones remain. Excuses are the nails used to build a house of failure. And now, let me tell you something. The world is full of people with reasons why they couldn't make it. Excuses why they never started. Stories about why it wasn't their fault. But let me ask you something. Do excuses pay the bills? Do excuses build a legacy? Do excuses make people wonder how you did it? No. Results do. Results speak when words fail. Results prove what excuses try to deny. See, life doesn't care about your excuses. Life only responds to what you do. And let me tell you something. Most people talk a big game, but they never play it. They tell you what they're going to do. They make promises. They say, just wait and see. But a year later, nothing's changed. 5 years later, still the same story. Why? Because instead of doing the work, they're busy explaining why they can't. They're waiting for the right time. They're waiting for motivation. They're waiting for someone to give them permission. Let me tell you, you don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need more time. You need action. You need to start where you are. You need to show up every single day. You need to get it done, whether you feel like it or not. Because let me tell you something important. People remember results. They don't remember excuses. No one sits around saying, wow, I really admire how they almost made it. I'm so inspired by how they tried but quit. No, they admire the ones who did it anyway, who found a way when others found an excuse. That's why I tell people, don't explain yourself. Don't defend your dreams. Don't try to convince anyone. Just do the work. Because results are undeniable. You don't have to prove success. You just become successful. And when you do, people will see it. People will feel it. People will wonder how you did it. They'll say, wait, wasn't this the same person who was struggling? Wasn't this the same person who started with nothing? And the answer is, yes. But the difference, you didn't stop. You didn't complain. You didn't make excuses. You just put in the work, day after day, quietly, relentlessly. And when you let your results speak, you never have to explain yourself. You never have to convince anyone. Because success is the best proof in the world. Now, I hear people say, if only I had more money, I'd start my business. If only I had more time, I'd chase my dreams. If only I had support, I'd be successful. But let me tell you something. There will always be an if only. There will always be a reason why it's not the perfect time. Do you know what separates winners from everyone else? Winners don't wait for perfect conditions. Winners create perfect conditions. Because here's the truth. Success is built in the middle of chaos. Success is built when things aren't ideal. Think about the greats. They didn't wait for a perfect moment. They worked through the struggle. They created opportunities where none existed. The world doesn't hand out success. The world tests you. It asks, how bad do you really want it? If you need it to be easy, you won't make it. If you need constant motivation, you won't make it. If you need someone to hold your hand, you won't make it. The real winners, they stop waiting. They stop explaining. They stop wishing, and they start working. Now, let me share a secret with you. The loudest ones. The ones always bragging, always explaining. They rarely succeed. Because real winners don't have time to talk. They're too busy building. They're too busy grinding. They're too busy executing. You know who gets remembered? Not the ones who talked about their dreams. The ones who actually made them happen. So here's my challenge for you. Stop explaining. Stop justifying. Stop waiting for approval. Just do the work. And one day people will look at you and say, how did they do it? And you won't have to say a word, because your results, they will speak for themselves. So let me ask you, are you still making excuses? Or are you letting your work speak for itself? Because in the end, no one remembers the reasons why you couldn't. They only remember that you did. And that's what makes them wonder. How did they do it? Work hard in silence. Let success make the noise. You see, the goal is not just to improve. The goal is to transform, to become unrecognizable. Because when you put in the work, when you stay consistent, when you stop making excuses, something happens one day. You look in the mirror and you don't see the old version of yourself anymore. You see someone new. And that's when people start asking, how did you do it? They don't recognize you anymore. The same people who once doubted you, the ones who laughed at you, the ones who ignored you. Now, they're watching because they see something different. They see the discipline. They see the confidence. They see the results. And now they want to know your secret. See, most people don't change. They say they will. They think about it. They even talk about it. But few people actually do it. Because transformation isn't easy. It requires sacrifice. It requires discomfort. It requires letting go of who you were, so you can become who you were meant to be. And that's why most people stay the same. They hold on to old habits, old excuses, old identities. But here's what I tell people. If you want to change your life, you have to change yourself. Not just a little, not just when it's convenient, not just when you feel motivated. You have to go all in. Because the real transformation happens when you stop trying to improve the old you and you become someone new. That's when people start wondering, wait, is this really the same person? And now, here's the key. You don't have to announce your transformation. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to convince anyone. Just let the work speak. Because here's what will happen. At first, they won't believe it. They'll think it's just a phase. Oh, they'll give up soon. They're just lucky. It won't last. But you keep showing up. You keep doing the work. You keep proving them wrong without saying a word. And then one day, they can't deny it anymore. Your results will be undeniable. Your growth will be undeniable. And that's when people start asking, how did you do it? Now. This is the best part. When you reach that point, when the people around you don't even recognize you anymore, that's when you know you've won. Because the goal was never to prove anything to anyone. The goal was to become the person you always knew you could be. So let me ask you, are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to stay silent while you build? Are you willing to let your results do the talking? Because one day, if you do it right, people will look at you and say, you're not the same person you used to be. And you'll just smile because you already knew that was the plan all along. The goal isn't to seek validation. The goal isn't to prove people wrong. The goal isn't even to explain yourself. The goal is to transform, to become so disciplined, so skilled, so successful that people can't help but wonder, how did they do it? And the answer, you don't have to say a word. Because your results, they speak for themselves. That's it. That's the secret. Now go out there and make them wonder.